Y'all need a pilot? Alright, so the brand new film from Mel Gibson, who you may know as the director of Braveheart, Hacksaw Ridge, and The Passion of the Christ. Some movies that got Oscar nominations and I believe even won some Oscars. Yeah. He's directing Flight Risk. It's a new B-thriller movie that, like, you used to see in the early 2000s, late 90s, movies like that. For me, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to the movie. I like the trailers, looked like something that I would enjoy, but I didn't necessarily know what I would think about it. I typically like movies like this, so at the very least, I was hoping that it could be a good thriller. It wasn't that. So today we are going to review Flight Risk. Before I tell you my thoughts, what are yours down below in the comment section? While you're down there, please make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. We're trying to hit 300 by the middle of July. And while you're down there, hit the bell so you never miss another 2025 movie review, just like this one. And with that said, we're going to get started talking about Flight Risk. Okay, so the movie's got this enjoyment to it where, like, yeah, it's a thriller. It's got two actors in here that I enjoy. And so it's got enough of that predictable, what's the word? Formulaic enjoyment that I can get out of it. Like, I've seen movies like this before. I've seen really great movies like this before. This is not it. But I enjoyed watching it. Like, sometimes. Like, I didn't feel like it was a drag. I didn't feel any of that. I felt like, yeah, I got from point A to point B. Just like that. Okay. It's kind of feels like a parody. Like, this is mocking the bad movies. Which, in turn, is not a good idea for a movie like this. But it has that, and that adds to the enjoyment. And adding on to that is the two performances of Mark Wahlberg, Topher Grace. Mark Wahlberg is trying to give this creepy performance, and I think it's effective, especially when he's talking about raping the other passengers. Yeah, that's a thing that happens in this movie. And then Topher Grace feels like he's in a parody. Like, we'll talk about how terrible the script is in here in a minute, but the script is really bad that every line he says feels like he's in one of them parody movies. Feels like he is literally a robot. And he's hilarious. He's genuinely funny. Because, not trying to go for what he's going for. He's funny for all the wrong reasons. But he's funny. And so, it's watchable. That's the thing I can give it. Like, when I walked out of the theater, I was like, yeah, that was watchable. It's more of what I'm thinking about after the fact. Like, you know what? This was actually a really bad movie. This actually was not good. If you want to see Flight Risk, I'd click off the video right now. If you want to. Because I've heard general audiences are having a good enough time with it. I don't recommend you watch it. At the very least, I recommend you, if you want to watch it, you wait till it turns to streaming. Don't even spend any money on it. Because this feels like a streaming movie. This feels like a glorified streaming movie that was put into theaters. And it's not good. It's not good. But back to my point, we are going to talk kind of spoiler territory. Not go too far in. But there will be some things that if you don't want to know a single thing about this movie, just click off the video now. It's not good. I just said this. First shot of the movie is an AI-generated motel room, because why wouldn't it be? Like, you literally, the first shot after the opening credits are, boom, just a big motel that is clearly AI-generated. You're then following Topher Grace as his microwave goes out. Stupid microwave. Why is my microwave not working? See? Doesn't the script sound like it's written by something other than human? Then he hears a noise at his window. He goes to check it out. What is it? It's a moose. But it's a terribly CGI animated moose. When I say that this might just be the worst CGI animated moose or animal I have seen in my entire 19 years of existence, I would not be lying. That moose looked horrible. I instantly knew from then on when he's walking back to his bed saying, "Stupid Alaska. Alaska sucks. I cannot wait to get out of Alaska," that I was in for an all-time stinker. And again, while it was watchable, the script doesn't get better. Because when I say those lines like that, it's because it literally feels like it was written by a robot. The script literally feels like it was written by AI. Now, if you say, "Oh, Zach, it's a first-time writer, don't cut too much slack," I have seen thousands of movies written by first-time writers, and I don't think I've ever seen a script that is this clearly AI generated. Like, you write a prompt, oh, your electricity goes out. What will the guy say? Stupid electricity. Stupid, stupid. I cannot make this up. I swear to God, I will put my hand down swearing that this is written by AI. We don't know that for sure, but especially after the first shot of the movie is an AI-generated cabin, I would not be surprised if this was an entire script written by AI. And I can see that if it's just a normal thriller, it's just a typical bad movie. But this is a Mel Gibson film. Man, this is a Mel Gibson. He did Hacksaw Ridge, Passion of the Christ. He did, what was that other movie? Braveheart. He did those movies. Oscar winners. And what's he doing? Making a movie with a script that feels so AI generated that I cannot believe that this was actually put out there. I genuinely can't. The only time the script doesn't feel AI generated is when Mark Wahlberg is talking about raping this fellow guy that's in the plane. And oh, I'm not kidding. I am not joking whatsoever. Several times, almost every time he opens his mouth, a rape joke comes out. Over 80% of this movie is Mark Wahlberg saying rape jokes. And I'm not lying. I am not lying. I'm being so for real. I cannot believe it. I genuinely... Why? It feels like they stopped using the AI prompt to write a rape joke and then like, okay, yeah, you finish it up from here on out. The movie's not that hard to make. Making a good movie like this, we have thousands of movies like this. You get close quarters, you have to have a creepy performance by Mark Wahlberg, and you have to make the twists work. Twists did not make sense. They were fine, but the performances felt also stale, which didn't work. One of my favorite thriller movies of all time has 3 cast members in the entire movie. You don't see another human being except for these 3 members in 10 Cloverfield Lane. You got John Goodman, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. You got those 2 people for the majority of the film. And then you have Emmett also. Those 3 people are the people that you have in this film. And it works so flawlessly, so perfectly. It's intense throughout, but then you get this movie that just doesn't have any of the tension, doesn't have any of the smarts and the wit that a movie like this should, because it very clearly feels like it's written by AI. And I hate saying that, because it genuinely does feel like it is written by AI. So, for a movie that I had a good enough time watching, when I think about it, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. I don't think this movie was written by a person. I really don't. In fact, this is the movie that I've seen in January that most feels like a January movie in my entire lifetime. When I think of movies like this, or when I think of January movies, this is the exact type of movie I think of. Low effort, entertaining enough, superficially entertaining, specifically for like audience members. Like, I had a full audience in my theater, and they were laughing at everything Topher Grace said. It was pretty funny. But if I watched it at home, that wouldn't work. But also, if I watched it at home, I'd have a better time with it, because then I wouldn't have to get dressed up and go out to the theater, which I love doing. Theater is one of my favorite places on earth, but I wouldn't have to do that to go see this movie. This movie. I didn't pay. My dad went with me, so shout out to my dad for paying. But imagine if I had to spend $35 on the movie. I would have been pissed, because this is a glorified streaming movie, and not a good glorified streaming movie. If I watched it at home with my brother, with some of my friends, I would have had a much better time watching this film, because it doesn't make any sense. And while I did have that superficial enjoyment to it, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, there are thousands of movies like this one that are much better. So this is not a good movie at all. Mel Gibson directs it. Mel freaking Gibson. And it's not good. Clearly is a easy cash grab for Mel Gibson. And it's not a good movie. Before I give you my final score of Flight Risk, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you never miss another review. And while you're down there, comment down below, did you enjoy Flight Risk? Or are you like me and think this is one of the laziest thrillers ever put out there? And with that said, Flight Risk has that superficial enjoyment, keyword superficial, feels like a parody, and the movie is entertaining enough when it feels like a parody, but besides that, the script feels AI generated. Nothing about this movie works. It should have been a streaming movie that I would have had more fun with if I stayed inside watching. I didn't like it. I didn't like Flight Risk. And so for that, Flight Risk is going to have to get a D+. Thank you guys for clicking on this video, and stay tuned for several other reviews. We're starting the Daredevil Road to Born Again review series this week, so stay tuned for that, and subscribe to never miss another video.